10 pickup trucks with forever-lasting engines. What if I told you there are pickup trucks out there still going strong after 500,000 miles and some pushing 1 million? These machines weren't built to impress the showroom crowd. They were built to last forever. Engines so tough, they've outlived their owners, crossed continents, and hauled loads that would leave lesser trucks in scrap yards. No fancy touch screens, no pampered luxury, just raw, old-school mechanical brilliance. From indestructible diesels to overbuilt V8s, every truck on this list shares one mission: never quit. In this video, we're counting down the 10 pickup trucks with forever-lasting engines. Some of these power plants became legends. Others flew under the radar, but all of them earned their place, the hard way through grit gears and a whole lot of miles. So buckle up, because by the end of this video, you might just start hunting for one of these unstoppable beasts yourself. And if you love tough trucks and legendary engines, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Muscle Car Masters, where horsepower meets history. (1996 to 2002) Chevrolet CK Series L 31 5.7-liter V8. Few engines define American truck durability like the L31 5.7-liter Vortec V8, found in the final generation of Chevrolet's CK Series from 1996 to 2002. This was the last true evolution of the original small block 350, an engine built not to impress, but to endure. Rated at 255 horsepower at 4,600 RPM and 330 pound-feet of torque at just 2,800 RPM, it featured a 9.4:1 compression ratio and delivered real-world power, where truck owners needed it most down low and under load. GM engineers outfitted it with hydraulic roller camshafts, 4-bolt main bearing caps, forged connecting rods, and a robust cooling system that could handle extreme work conditions without flinching. On the road, a standard CK 1500 with this engine could accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 8.1 seconds and complete the quarter mile in about 16.1 seconds, strong numbers for a full-size workhorse. In the real world, it wasn't uncommon for these engines to surpass 350,000 miles with basic maintenance. What many don't know is that a high-output aluminum head version was briefly tested for a Silverado SS project, only to be shelved in favor of the newer LS1. The L31 wasn't fancy, but it was the kind of honest overbuilt engine that earned its place in garages across America. But what if I told you Ford built a 6-cylinder that outlasts most V8s? (1965 to 1996) Ford F-Series 300, inline, 6 4.9-liter. If you grew up on farms, job sites, or behind the wheel of a work truck, chances are you've heard stories or lived them about Ford's legendary 300 cubic inch inline 6. Introduced in 1965 and serving faithfully through 1996, this cast-iron brute became the backbone of the F-Series lineup for over 3 decades. With just 145 horsepower and 265 pound-feet of torque at a low 2,000 RPM, it wasn't built for speed, it was built to work. The 300 inline 6 featured a rugged 8.8:1 compression ratio, a forged steel crankshaft, and 7 main bearings that gave it tank-like bottom-end strength. In the real world, these engines routinely crossed the 400,000-mile mark. Some even doubled that running on basic oil changes and sheer determination. It may not have clocked impressive 0 to 60 times, often around 11 to 12 seconds, in a standard F-150, but it wasn't trying to. This was an engine that hauled hay, plowed snow and pulled trailers day in, day out, without complaint. Mechanics often joked that the only way to kill a 300 was to drain the oil and shoot it, and even then, it might fire back up. If you love real engines built to last, like share and subscribe to Muscle Car Masters, we bring the grit, grease, and greatness of America's machines back to life. You think Sleeper is impressive? Wait till you see the disguised monster coming next. (1960 to 1987) Dodge D-Series 225/6. If the Ford 300 was the workhorse of the Midwest, then Dodge's 225/6 was the gritty underdog that refused to stay down. Introduced in 1960 and running all the way through the late 1980s in the D-Series, this 225 cubic inch inline six earned its reputation, not through raw power, but through pure indestructibility. With a distinctive 30-degree tilt in the engine bay, the Slant 6 was engineered for durability and clever packaging. The angled design allowed for a lower hood line, simplified intake geometry, and improved oil return under load, producing around 105 horsepower and 190 pound-feet of torque. Its 8.4-to-1 compression ratio and forged steel crankshaft were paired with 7 main bearings for unrivaled bottom-end strength. While it didn't impress on paper, real-world stories told a different tale. These engines ran on bad gas through bad weather, and with almost no maintenance, and they just kept going. Postal service trucks, city plows, rural delivery vans. If it had a Slant 6, it probably saw 300,000 miles or more. Some even outlasted the trucks they came in. It wasn't fast, but it never gave up. You think reliability like that is rare? Just wait, because the next engine was so overbuilt, it changed the diesel truck world forever. (1994 to 2003) Ford Super Duty 7.3-liter Power Stroke Diesel. There are diesel engines, and then there's the Ford 7.3-liter Power Stroke, a name that still brings a grin to diesel techs and truckers alike. Introduced in 1994 and powering Ford Super Duty trucks through 2003, the 7.3 wasn't just tough, it was borderline legendary. This V8 diesel delivered 275 horsepower and 525 pound-feet of torque hitting peak twist at 1,800 RPM thanks to turbocharged direct injection and a burly 17.5-to-1 compression ratio. The engine block was cast iron with cross-bolted main bearing caps, forged rods, and a no-nonsense mechanical fuel system in its early years. It was the kind of design that didn't just survive abuse, it welcomed it. From towing fifth-wheel trailers across the Rockies to idling in sub-zero weather for hours, the 7.3 Power Stroke just kept working. Many original owners still run these trucks today with 500,000 to 1 million miles on the clock and no major rebuild. Its reputation was so strong that when Ford replaced it with the more complex 6.0-liter Backlash was immediate. The 7.3 wasn't sleek or modern, but it was durable to the core, and it earned every mile of its legend. But the next engine, 1989 to 1998, Dodge Ram 5.9-liter, Cummins 12-valve diesel. When Dodge partnered with Cummins in the late 1980s, it didn't just create a competitive truck, it launched a revolution. The 5.9-liter 12-valve Cummins built from 1989 to 1998 wasn't just an engine, it was a mechanical monument to over-engineering. Rated between 160 and 215 horsepower with a staggering 400 to 440 pound-feet of torque. Available just off idle at 1,600 RPM, This inline-six diesel used a 17.0:1 compression ratio, forged internals, and a gear-driven camshaft. No timing chains, no belts, no excuses. The 6-bolt per cylinder head clamping force was so excessive that head gasket failures were almost unheard of. Its Bosch P7100 mechanical injection pump became legendary in tuning circles, capable of supporting triple the stock output with minor mods. But even untouched, these engines were known to exceed 1 million miles in commercial use. School buses, hotshot haulers, farm rigs. And unlike later versions, the 12-valve didn't rely on electronics. No sensors, no modules, just pure mechanical fuel, delivery, rock, solid metallurgy, and torque that came on like a freight train. It didn't care about emissions or creature comforts. It was built to start cold, pull hard, and never stop. You think 1 million miles is impressive? Just wait. The next engine wasn't made to tow. It was made to climb mountains and crawl through hell. (1987 to 2001) Jeep Cherokee XJ 4.0-liter inline 6. If you've ever taken a trail too far, driven through snow deeper than your bumper, or bounced over rocks in a stock 4x4, there's a good chance a 4.0-liter inline 6 got you home. Found in the legendary Jeep Cherokee XJ from 1987 to 2001. This engine wasn't fast, but it was built like a cast-iron anvil, and it refused to quit. With 190 horsepower and 225 pound-feet of torque, the AMC-designed 4.0 used a traditional OHV layout, 8.8:1 compression, and long-stroke geometry that made it ideal for low-end grunt. The block and head were both cast-iron, and the design featured a forged crankshaft with a rugged bottom end that took years of off-road abuse in stride. Real-world 0 to 60 times hovered around 8.5 to 9.0 seconds, but that was never the point. This was the engine you wanted when you were hundreds of miles from pavement, alone, and in a vehicle that just had to work. Many XJ owners report 300,000 to 400,000 miles on original motors, often with nothing more than oil changes and cooling system upkeep. It may not have been flashy, but it was brutally effective. And when paired with a manual gearbox and locking diffs, it became an unstoppable force. Like what you're hearing so far, then smash that like button, share this video with your fellow off-road warriors, and subscribe to Muscle Car Masters for more legendary engines that built our roads and broke the rules. But the next power plant, it wasn't American, and it earned its reputation crawling across deserts with a roar you'll never forget. (1981 to 1995) Toyota pickup Hilux 22 R 2.4-liter inline 4. If there's one engine that defined Toyota's reputation for bulletproof reliability, it's the 22R found in the Toyota pickup, known globally as the Hilux. Between 1981 and 1995, this 2.4-liter inline 4 was never about speed. It was about survival. Producing just 105 horsepower and 137 pound-feet of torque, with a 9.0:1 compression ratio, the 22R was modest on paper, but a monster in the real world. With a chain-driven single overhead, cam, a cast-iron block and head, and a timing assembly that could outlast the body around it, the 22R thrived in extreme heat, cold neglect, and terrain that chewed up lesser trucks. The engine's simplicity made it nearly indestructible, and owners pushed it to the brink without fear. Real-world performance wasn't flashy, 0 to 60 took around 13 seconds, and the quarter mile was north of 18 seconds, but the truck always got there. From mountain passes in Afghanistan to ranches in Arizona, the 22R just kept going. Some examples have racked up 700,000 to over 1 million miles, often without ever pulling the head. It's the kind of engine that made even the harshest environments seem conquerable. You thought that was impressive? The next V8 isn't just reliable, it's refined, powerful, and overbuilt like a luxury tank with a blue-collar heart. 2000 to 2009, Toyota Tundra, 2 UZFE 4.7-liter V8. While Toyota had already proven itself with small, reliable engines, the 2 UZFE 4.7-liter V8 marked the company's move into full-size American truck territory, and it did so with quiet confidence. Debuting in the 2000 Toyota Tundra, this all-aluminum iron block V8 delivered a respectable 240 horsepower and 315 pound-feet of torque, with peak torque arriving at 3,400 RPM and a 9.6-to-1 compression ratio. Unlike Toyota's more performance-oriented engines, the 2UZ was designed for endurance and heavy-duty use. Its deep skirt, cast iron block forged steel crankshaft, and exceptionally overbuilt oiling system gave it the kind of reliability typically reserved for commercial platforms. In real-world use, it wasn't uncommon to see these engines run 400,000 to 500,000 miles with basic maintenance. Despite weighing in heavier than many competitors, the 2UZ was refined quiet, at idle smooth under load, and surprisingly capable of towing over 7,000 pounds. With 0 to 60 miles per hour, times in the 8.0 to 8.5 second range, it wasn't slow either. While the rest of the world saw Toyota as the economy car brand, American truck guys who tried a Tundra with a 2 quickly learned this engine was different. It was a luxury grade hammer, quiet, smooth, and damn near indestructible. But the next engine, it came from Japan too. But this one acted like a V8, while only sipping fuel and punching far above its weight. – 2005 to 2020, Nissan Frontier and Xterra, VQ40DE 4.0-liter V6. At a glance, the VQ40DE 4.0-liter V6 might seem like just another mid-size engine, but underneath its modest reputation lies one of the most quietly dependable motors of the 21st century. Powering the Nissan Frontier and Xterra from 2005 to 2020, this member of the award-winning VQ family delivered 261 horsepower and 281 pound-feet of torque, with a 9.7-to-1 compression ratio and peak torque around 4,000 RPM. Built with an aluminum block forged steel crankshaft and timing chain system instead of a belt, the VQ40DE was made to take abuse without flinching. It handled high-rev off-roading, long-haul, daily driving, and even neglected maintenance better than most rivals. These engines are known to surpass 300,000 miles with minimal internal work, just oil coolant, and the occasional valve cover gasket. Real-world 0 to 60 miles per hour, times landed around 7.5 to 8 seconds, giving it solid acceleration for a mid-sized truck, especially when paired with a manual gearbox. While it never had the muscle car image or diesel brawn, the VQ40DE earned quiet respect for being damn near unkillable. And when you consider how many of these trucks are still crawling over rocks and dirt trails 2 decades later, it's clear this V6 punched way above its weight. But now, let's bring it home with the modern V8 that refuses to die, no matter what you throw at it. 1999 to 2007, Chevrolet Silverado LM 75.3-liter V8. The LM7 5.3-liter Vortec V8, launched in 1999, marked a new chapter for GM's small block legacy and quickly earned its place among the most reliable engines ever dropped into a full-size pickup. Found in millions of Chevrolet Silverados and GMC Sierras, through 2007, the LM7 produced 285 horsepower and 325 pound-feet of torque, with peak torque arriving at 4,000 RPM and a 9.5 to 1 compression ratio. Its cast iron block and aluminum cylinder heads gave it the perfect mix of strength and cooling efficiency, while the sequential multi-port fuel injection coil near plug ignition and cross-bolted mains brought it into the modern era. It may have been overshadowed by its performance LS1 cousin, but the LM7 was the real-world hero, hauling trailers daily, driving and getting beat on by contractors for 350,000 to 400,000 plus miles without ever giving up. In factory trim, it could still hustle 0 to 60 in 7.5 seconds quarter mile, in the low 15s, depending on gearing. Whether it lived under the hood of a work truck or a family hauler, the LM7 became one of GM's most trusted engines of all time. If this V8 ever asked for anything, it was oil and not much else. If you've made it this far, you're clearly one of us. Hit like, share this with your fellow truck lovers, and subscribe to Muscle Car Masters, because we're just getting started. More forgotten legends, more indestructible engines, and more stories that built the backbone of America are on the way. These weren't just engines, they were the beating hearts of American roads, farms, job sites, and backwoods trails. Some pulled trailers, others carried generations, but all of them proved one thing: true reliability never goes out of style. So now it's your turn. Have you owned or driven a truck that just refused to die? Tell us your story in the comments below. We read every one, and your engine might just make it into a future video. And if this brought back memories or gave you a few ideas for your next build, hit like, share with a fellow gearhead, and subscribe to Muscle Car Masters. We've got more legends coming.